Great. Let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into a source that it really brings us face to face with a truly harrowing personal experience.
Yeah, it's an interview with a survivor, Emily Carter, and the topic is incredibly important, stalking, and a really terrifying encounter she had.
Exactly. Our mission here really is to walk through Emily's story. We want to pull out those key moments, where things escalated, understand how she responded in that moment of danger, and crucially, get to the lessons she shares.
Right, and what's so compelling here is that you're hearing directly from someone who actually lived through this,
Hmm.
and she chose to share it, to try and help other people.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff. So we're going to trace that timeline, how a feeling, just a sense of unease, kind of slowly,
Insidiously.
yeah, insidiously escalated into a direct physical threat, and most importantly, what you can learn from what she went through.
Okay, so according to Emily's account, this all kicked off about 2 years before the interview. She was a college student back then, living off campus, and she started noticing this guy
Right, in her neighborhood?
in her neighborhood. But it wasn't just like seeing someone walking down the street.
No, not at all. She described him actually sitting in his car outside her apartment building, just sitting there for hours at a time.
And right from the start, she said she had this really strong feeling, like something was off.
That gut feeling, it's so important.
It really is. It's like our brain's, early warning system picking up on subtle things that aren't quite right.
Mm.
But as her story shows, this feeling of offness, it didn't just stay a feeling.
No, it definitely escalated significantly. Emily talked about how his behavior went from just being there, kind of passively.
To actively following her.
Yeah, when she walked to class, when she went to the store, he'd be there.
That feeling of being watched just became constant, pervasive.
God, you can only imagine the psychological toll of that, just living under that kind of constant surveillance.
Absolutely. And Emily talked about trying to cope. She stayed really alert. She tried changing her routes, her routines.
Walking with friends whenever she could.
Walked with friends, tried to avoid going out alone, especially at night. All the sensible things.
But even doing all that, she said she still felt incredibly restricted. She used this phrase, trapped in her own home. That really hits hard.
It does. It shows how deeply stalking just erodes your sense of safety, your freedom.
She even thought about moving, right? Just to get away from it.
Seriously considered it, yeah.
Yeah.
Which shows the level of anxiety she was living with.
And unfortunately, that constant pressure, that fear, it eventually led to something much worse. A direct confrontation.
Right. The pivotal incident she described, it happened one evening. She was coming home late.
From studying at the library.
Yeah, late study session. And as she got near her place,
She saw his car again.
yep, near her apartment, and that immediate recognition, even in the dark, just instantly triggered fear.
But she was focused, trying to just get inside fast.
That right. But as she got closer to the building entrance, she heard footsteps
Behind her. Oh, man.
right behind her. She turned around, and she said it was chilling how clearly she remembered it. It was him. He was right there.
Just right there. That sudden closeness, the panic must have been overwhelming.
Totally. She said she made a run for the building door, but he was just too close.
And he grabbed her?
Grabbed her arm before she could get the door open.
Okay, so this is it. The critical moment.
This is it. And despite the sheer terror, she said something clicked. Her prior preparation, things she'd learned.
Self-defense.
Exactly. Self-defense techniques she'd learned somewhere along the line. She remembered them. She focused. She twisted out of his grip, used his own momentum, and then kicked him hard in the shin to create space.
Wow. That quick thinking, that decisive action.
It was everything. She said it caught him completely off guard, just for a second.
And she took that second.
She took that crucial window, that tiny moment of his surprise, and just sprinted inside the building.
Thank God. But it wasn't over yet, was it?
Not immediately. The aftermath she described was still terrifying. She ran to her apartment door, fumbled with the keys, got inside, locked everything.
Multiple locks, I bet.
Oh, yeah. And she could still hear him right outside her door, pounding on it, yelling.
Jesus. So she called 911.
Called 911 and then hid in her bathroom while she waited,
Uh-huh.
waiting for the police. She said it felt like an eternity.
I can't even imagine that feeling. Trapped, listening to him right there, just waiting.
It's pure terror. But thankfully, the police did arrive.
And they got him.
They apprehended him right there, outside her apartment.
Okay, so the immediate threat was over.
Yes. But then came the context. What they found out about him afterwards. That added a whole other layer of shock.
Right, the source mentioned he wasn't just some random creep, he was actually...
He was wanted for several other assaults in the area.
Oh, wow, so he was actively dangerous. A
Yeah.
predator.
Exactly, which means Emily's actions, her fighting back, her getting away, it very likely saved her from becoming another one of his victims.
That realization must have been huge.
Profoundly impactful, yeah. Emily shared that the whole experience just changed everything for her long term.
It didn't just make her more aware, though.
No, it did more than that. It really spurred her into action. She became this passionate advocate for personal safety.
And she started sharing her story.
Her motivation, she explained, it came from this deep place, wanting to help other people understand the reality of stalking and how important it is to be prepared, you know.
She wanted people to know they aren't alone if this happens.
Exactly. Not alone. And that trusting your gut, that instinct.
Yeah.
It's absolutely vital. Don't ignore it.
Which brings us neatly to the key advice she distilled from all this, the takeaways she wanted listeners, you, to have.
Yeah, number one, first and foremost, always trust your gut feelings. If something feels off, even if your logical brain is trying to talk you out of it, like, oh, I'm just being paranoid, don't dismiss it.
Listen to that feeling. It's there for a reason.
It really is. Second, she stressed taking precautions.
Like changing routines, walking with others, being aware.
All that stuff is not about living in fear. It's about being smart, being proactive about your safety.
Makes sense. And the third point.
And finally, maybe the most important, don't hesitate to reach out for help if you feel threatened. Ever.
Call the police, tell friends, family, use resources.
Whatever it takes. Your safety has to be the number one priority. Always. Don't worry about seeming like a bother or overreacting. Just get help.
So when we step back and look at this whole thing, what does it all mean? Emily Carter's story, this account from the interview, it really underscores something so critical, that need, that profound need to trust your instincts, that little voice inside that says something's wrong.
Yeah, even when you feel tempted to brush it off, think you're being silly or paranoid, don't. Her experience just lays it bare, how seemingly small things, like just being watched,
Surveillance, yeah.
how that can escalate into real physical danger. And it also shows how taking proactive steps can make a difference.
Recognizing signs, maybe learning some basic self-defense like she did, and crucially, not hesitating to get help.
Those things can genuinely change the outcome in a crisis moment. They might even save your life.
It definitely raises a big question, doesn't it? In this world we live in, with information flying everywhere, constant distractions, how can we get better at tuning in to those crucial instincts? How do we really learn to recognize the signs of danger that might be right there in front of us?
And how do we empower ourselves and the people around us to actually listen to that gut feeling and act on it?
Before it's too late.
Yeah, definitely something for you to think about as you go about your day.